Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of 10-Minute Spotlight. On today's episode, I have Eric Voorhees. He's been on the show before. How are you doing today, Eric?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Wendy.
Thanks for coming on. If you guys don't know who Eric is, he is from Shapeshift, but Eric's going to go ahead and explain all of that to us. Eric, are you familiar with 10-Minute Spotlight?
Yes.
Okay, so you know you have 10 minutes to answer all of my questions and you don't get to win anything.
Absolutely. Great game.
Okay, you ready? Are you ready to go?
Ready.
All right. 10 minutes on the clock. So tell everybody who you are.
So I'm Eric Voorhees. I'm a Bitcoiner. I've been into this industry since May of 2011, and I'm the founder and CEO of Shapeshift.
Question for you. You said that you were a Bitcoiner, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there with Shapeshift, you guys are giving out a Fox airdrop, correct?
Correct.
Does that kind of contradict with the ethos of Bitcoiners?
The ethos of Bitcoiners is supposed to be one of decentralization and openness.
Okay.
I see nothing incompatible with different blockchains being involved in an industry that is supposed to be about decentralization. So no, I've been a Bitcoiner since 2011 and will continue to be.
Okay. So it's okay if we talk about S coins on the show, you won't get upset, you won't leave?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to use poor terminology that degrades the ability of people to understand the assets, then go for it.
Okay.
I will respond to the questions.
Okay. So do you prefer the term altcoins?
It's better than shitcoins,
Okay.
But altcoins is a little misleading because it kind of categorizes everything as like an alternative to Bitcoin.
Okay.
Which I think is a very 2014 type of narrative.
Interesting.
A lot of the digital assets, most of them are not trying to compete with Bitcoin as base money. So, they're like calling Litecoin an altcoin, I think makes a lot of sense. Calling an NFT an altcoin doesn't make any sense. And there's a lot of gray area between those two things.
Do people really call NFT altcoins?
Well, most people who want to use the term altcoin will just call it all shitcoins now, and they'll refer to anything that's not Bitcoin as a shitcoin. Yeah, so.
Okay, that's sure. That's interesting to me. I'll have to have you come back on and talk about that a little bit more. So as far as Shapeshift, go ahead and explain what Shapeshift is to everyone.
So Shapeshift started out its life as a way to trade digital assets, one digital asset into another without custody. So a user could trade assets without having to trust a third-party exchange to hold their money for them. And more recently, Shapeshift has evolved into really a whole crypto platform where people can send, receive, connect their wallet, do trades, track their portfolio over time, all while maintaining fidelity to that self-custody model. So we don't hold any customer funds. You could say we're kind of like a Coinbase, but with self-custody at the base layer.
So question, in order to use Shapeshift, somebody would have to have like a cold storage device, like the Keep Key, maybe a Ledger or a Trezor, and they would go ahead and plug that in. They would go ahead and then access Shapeshift and they can go ahead and make their trades that way.
You can use those 3 hardware wallets with Shapeshift. You can also use the mobile app, which is just, a software app, and you can integrate Portis. We'll probably have MetaMask support in the not too distant future.
I've got a question for you. So I know that Shapeshift over time has kind of evolved because kind of talk to me about that. Because I remember at first you guys were not collecting KYC. And then there was an announcement, I want to say in like 2019 that you guys had to collect KYC. People completely lost it. They got upset. So kind of talk to us about that journey a little bit.
Yeah. When we started, one of our principles is to protect our users, which means don't hold their funds and don't take their personal private information. By 2018, we came to the conclusion that we may be treated like a financial institution, which would mean regulators were going to treat us as a bank. And we were going to have to basically take all that personal private information, even though we did not want to. So we made the decision to do that, much to our chagrin. Customers hated it, our employees hated it, I hated it. I think it's highly unethical to take people's personal private information like that. But we didn't know of an alternative. And fast forward to 2020, we started integrating decentralized exchanges and ripping out our entire exchange system. And so by April of this year, 2021, Shapeshift is back to having 0 KYC because we've integrated with decentralized technologies and are no longer an intermediary to the trade with users.
Interesting. So you guys were kind of able to bypass current laws or work alongside them to get it to where you don't have to do KYC?
We decided not to provide regulated services anymore.
Oh, okay. Can you
So yeah,
expand on that just a little bit more for me?
yeah. So our previous model was that a user would come to us and they have Ethereum and they want Bitcoin. So they send their Ethereum to us as Shapeshift, and Shapeshift sends Bitcoin back to them. We are the counterparty to that trade. That arguably is a regulated service. That arguably makes us a financial institution. If we stop doing that, then we are no longer a financial institution and we are no longer an intermediary, right? So then the question is, okay, but then how do your users do trades if you're not going to help them with that? So that's what we integrated the decentralized exchanges for. So our users now interact directly between their own keys and their own wallets with the decentralized exchanges, Uniswap, SushiSwap, Thorchain, a dozen that we have integrated into Shapeshift. So we are simply out of the business of doing regulated activity, and I will never wade back into that business again.
Absolutely outstanding. I'm happy to hear for it. Quick question. So are you guys doing, do you guys support Binance Smart Chain projects as well? Because you mentioned, you talked about some Ethereum based stuff, but like Uniswap and 1inch. So Binance?
Not yet. We would like to, but yeah, we have a bunch of Ethereum ERC20 dexes, and then we have Thorchain, which supports all major chains like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and a number of others. But yeah, Binance Smart Chain, we got to get in there. Cosmos, we got to get in there.
What about Polkadot or Solana? I'm a big Solana person, and I really love the Polkadot ecosystem. I feel like Polkadot and Solana are bringing positive competition to Ethereum. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, we'd love to get those in there too. As we open source Shapeshifts, our hope is that people can integrate those things into the platform themselves, and we won't have to be the gatekeepers anymore.
Oh, so you're going to have it set up to where people could go ahead and create their own?
Yeah, so we are open sourcing the entire Shapeshift code base over time. And that means that other projects will be able to integrate themselves into Shapeshift's platform and access all those users.
So do you think people are excited about this new news that they no longer have to KYC using Shapeshift?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone loved it. I expected they would. What's really more important here is like the demonstration that decentralized technology is the right way to protect people's privacy and protect people's safety. Decentralization is the fundamental principle of Bitcoin, and the reason it has not been shut down and the reason it cannot be stopped is because it is decentralized. The degree to which entrepreneurs in this industry can take that principle and apply it to other parts of a financial system is the degree to which we're winning. So that's what we're trying to do with Shapeshift, and all of the DeFi stuff has been such an inspiration in that regard.
That is absolutely awesome. Yeah, I remember the Ledger hack. So the Ledger hack got, for those of you that don't know, Ledger's database got hacked. So anybody that had ordered from there, they were able to kind of get your personal information. That's why it is so important to be able to remain anonymous and be able to remain private on the internet, just for reasons like that. For example, I'm a mom, I have a 4-year-old. I don't want people knowing where I'm spending my money or what Target I shop at. So that's one of the things that is very appealing to me in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin.
Yeah, people have the right to financial privacy, just as they have the right to privacy in their thoughts and in their speech. And even though that's a radical view today, I think in the future that will be taken as an important social goal and a fundamental right.
So my next question to you is about the Fox airdrop. And we kind of touched on that earlier in the interview. Talk to me about that. How are people eligible for that? Is it too late to sign up for that? Because everybody loves airdrops.
Everyone loves airdrops. So yeah, last week on July 14th, we announced that Shapeshift is decentralizing our entire company into an open source token governed project. As part of that, to make that most successful, we did the largest airdrop in history to over 1.1 million recipients. So this was over 800,000 past Shapeshift customers, as well as 100,000 people from various DeFi projects. So yeah, go to shapeshift.com and you can check to see if any of your addresses are eligible. The minimum amounts we're talking about are 200 Fox, which is about $160 today, ranging up to a few $1,000s based on the degree to which you traded with Shapeshift in the past and some other variables. So yeah, it's our, it's us giving a huge portion of the Fox tokens out to the community and then bringing them into our open source project and letting this continue on as a community project instead of a, for-profit shareholder-based centralized entity.
So what is the utility for the Fox coin or token?
So governance over where Shapeshift and its DAO spends its money,
Okay.
governance over how its features develop into the future. Currently with Fox tokens, you can get a portion of your gas fees paid for each month. And you're also eligible in this thing we have called rainfall, where every time someone trades on Shapeshift, a random person holding Fox tokens gets rewarded in USDC. So that's just kind of like a fun game that goes on within Shapeshift. But largely, it's the governance and value accrual asset of the Shapeshift platform in its open source format versus the centralized equity-based format we have now.
So the timer went off, but I have another question for you before we go.
Go for
So
it.
you talked about the Fox tokens utility being used for DAOs. Can you kind of explain DAOs a little bit to the audience and why Shapeshift decided to utilize a DAO to make decisions in the process?
Yeah. So DAOs are decentralized autonomous organizations. And essentially what it means is you get a bunch of people acting around a project in which they have an economic incentive. So it's not like charity work, but there is no corporate entity. There's no headquarters. There's no jurisdiction in which the DAO operates. There are no employees of the DAO. It is an economic organization built on blockchains, open source protocols, and tokens. And while not every business should convert into being a DAO, particularly those that are digital, global, and financial, it makes a lot of sense. And so it's a totally experimental new realm of, economic organization, but we're gonna pioneer down that direction and see how far we can get.
That's awesome. So about DAOs, can people stay anonymous when utilizing a DAO?
Of course, yeah, DAOs are just comprised of token holders.
Okay. What's the minimum amount of tokens one would need to participate in the Fox DAO or the Shapeshift DAO?
One.
So just one token, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's actually impressive, because some DAOs that I've reviewed or talked to other people on the show to talk about it, they're like, you need 2,000, you need this or that. And it's kind of really out of a lot of people's realms. I feel like in crypto, we forget that there's just average people around, and not everybody has access to a lot of funds to have a lot of capital. And I know with a lot of these launch pads, I know Shapeshift is not a launch pad, but I'm just making the comparison here. To participate in some of these launch pads, you need to hold a significant amount of their token. And I mean,
we've unlike most of those, we've never sold Fox tokens and never will. So our goal here is to let a broad base of global users interact with and govern what Shapeshift becomes. And that starts with like one token. So for us, that wasn't a hard question.
Absolutely amazing. Do you have anything else you want to talk to the audience about before we get out of here?
No, go check if you're eligible for the airdrop. Read our blog post on decentralizing Shapeshift, which goes into depth about why and how this is all working. And thank you for having me on the show.
Awesome, Eric. Thank you so much. And again, you guys, if you're interested in utilizing Shapeshift, always understand not your keys, not your coins. And that's one of the reasons why we like Shapeshift, is because they allow you to actually hold on to your cryptocurrency. But also please be aware that if you lose your private seed phrase, or you lose your passwords, or you practice poor OPSEC, you can lose your crypto. So once you finally get ready to utilize a platform like Shapeshift, please understand the importance of OPSEC, understand the purpose of owning your keys, understand what self-sovereign means, understand what freedom means, and don't take that plunge just because you've watched this video. Take that plunge just because you are morally responsible and you're willing to accept that great responsibility. So again, Eric, thank you so much.